Every Tuesday night, a small group gathers around Waleed Abu-al-Khar's living room table in the port city of Jeddah. They sip tea, eat dates, and push the boundaries of free speech in Saudi Arabia, one of the most oppressive countries in the world. They criticize religion and contemplate revolutions. وليد and his wife have been hosting these weekly salons for the last 4 months. He says it's only a matter of time before the government shuts them down.
Every day I say to myself, tomorrow they will arrest me.
Many here tonight share Waleed's fear. About half of the group, which includes teachers, Islamic scholars, students, and activists, don't want their faces shown. Some of them hide these meetings from family and friends, and like the majority of Saudis, no one here has ever taken their criticisms to the streets in protest.
Maybe you demonstrate, but nothing happened. They just put you in the jail for years, and if you ask a lot of people, they're afraid. They're afraid. They know that the cost is very high.
Despite the risks, taboo opinions are no longer being confined to cramped living rooms. They're being voiced by thousands of Saudis across the country, online. Social media like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube are allowing a new generation to communicate without the strict censorship they've come to live with in the offline world.
Can you imagine just standing in the corner to speak out to 10 people? The state immediately will round you up and you will be in dungeons or prison. But now you are speaking out to thousands.
Mohammed Al-Khatani is a prominent human rights activist in Riyadh. He says social media slipped under the government's radar, and now it's too popular to shut down.
You are a sovereign state, and if you are bothered by Twitter and Facebook, go and block it. I mean, you have the authority to do so, but they will not do it because it's going to be a big embarrassment, of course.
Saudi Arabia has more active Twitter users than any other Arab country, and the second most Facebook users in the region next to Egypt. Waleed, with around 40,000 Twitter followers, remembers immediately embracing the power of social media.
This is the first time in my life here in Saudi Arabia that I can publish something and no one can control it in my whole life. I can remember my feeling when my first tweet, and I said in that tweet, people, here I will start to use my freedom clearly.
But in February of 2012, Saudi Arabia's newfound online freedom was pushed to its limits when 23-year-old Hamza Kashgari sent out a tweet on the Prophet Muhammad's birthday that read, "I have loved things about you, and I've hated things about you. And there is a lot I don't understand about you. I will not pray for you." These 140 characters sparked outrage across the country. Religious clerics were calling for the death penalty.
أن يعاقبوا هؤلاء وأن يحيلوهم إلى المحاكم الشرعية التي تتخذ فيهم الحكم الشرعي.
Hamza fled to Malaysia, and after an international manhunt, he was placed in prison, where he is still awaiting his sentence.
Sometimes these young kids are confused. They didn't know whether they live in a liberal state or a very conservative state, and they didn't know the limits.
Hamza was a regular participant at these weekly salons. He's now a regular topic of discussion.
خطأت حمزة لا ليس فيه استفزاز للجماهير. هل كنت ستخطئه كما فعلت الآن؟ نعم.
Waleed says that Hamza's arrest was followed by an intensified government crackdown on critical voices. Many here tonight used to meet informally at different coffee shops around the city. Some of the shops have since prohibited such meetings. Their most frequent hangout, Bridges Cafe, was just recently raided by the religious police and closed down completely. That's when Waleed announced on Twitter he would be hosting the gatherings himself.
You are the non-Muslim and you are very sick people.
Waleed is used to getting death threats on Twitter, but he says he gets a lot more nowadays.
Someone said, I hope Waleed keep going in his hunger strike until the death.
Despite this, he invites anyone to join the meetings at his home, and has even published his address and phone number online. It's put him and his wife in a vulnerable position.
We was sleeping and suddenly we woke up and smell smoke front our door. That someone tried to open fire front our house.
On top of this, وليد has been placed under investigation by the Ministry of the Interior and was summoned to court last month for disrespecting the judicial system. He is facing up to a year in jail.
I didn't ask for revolution. I didn't ask to change the system. I just have my small house and a lot of young people. I just speak freely in Twitter. A very, very basic thing in other countries. So why you punish me if I want to live free?
Even though his own future is uncertain, وليد remains confident that freedom of speech will continue to grow in Saudi Arabia, both online and outside the walls of his living room.
I saw how young people 10 years ago were afraid, and just 10 years how they become brave. And I wonder what happened in the next 5 years. I think a lot of things will happen.
For Time, this is Jacob Templin in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.